Hey everyone, and welcome back to another excellent edition of the Classic Video Game Channel. Last week I talked about the PS1 classic, Klonoa, Door to Phantomile. Although it was a pioneer in the 2.5D genre, it came at a time when gamers, well frankly could have cared less, as they were all busy with their new and cool free-roaming platformers. Despite this, Namco released a sequel to it in 2001, Klonoa 2, LUNATEA'S Veil. Now although the game might not bring much new to the table, it's another short and easy adventure, it's still an excellent platformer and completely deserving of the Klonoa namesake. So let's jump right in and take a look. Let's start off with the story. Now if you thought Door to Phantomile had a complicated plot, wait till you hear this one. Get ready and make sure you're listening because I'm only going over this once. Alright, the game begins with Klonoa dreaming. Surprise, surprise. He hears an unknown voice beckoning for help. Next, Klonoa comes flying out of the ocean and then falls back in. Don't worry, I don't get it either. Finally, Klonoa washes ashore of Lunatea and is greeted by two new characters, Lolo, a priestess, and her buddy Popka. Before you manage to find out how and why you arrived here, Lolo jumps in your ring and Popka urges you to travel to the island over in the distance. Technically, this is where the game begins, but trust me, there's a ton more to the story. Without revealing too much, I'll give the basic gist of the ensuing plot. After traveling to the island, Lolo and Popka take Klonoa to meet Baguji, an eccentric prophet. He tells them that Lunatea is the home of 4 kingdoms, each containing a bell. These bells maintain the harmony throughout Lunatea. A 5th bell not belonging to any of the kingdoms has recently appeared, however. This bell has spread chaos all across Lunatea. To get help, Baguji suggests that they visit the High Priestess. There, Lolo is named a full priestess and is sent to gather the power from each bell to contain the evil, of course with the help of our buddy, Klonoa. On the way, you bump into the baddies Leo, Rena, and Tat, who also want the power of the bells, only instead they desire it for their own evil purposes. These two characters actually provide some great foils to Popka and Lolo, and on top of that, add some great character development that's seen all the way through to the end of the game. Plus, you gotta love how Tat's got a crush on Klonoa. And that about does it for this story. Like I said, it's pretty complicated, but it's truly great and even better than its predecessor in my humble opinion, featuring some great dialogue, some awesome cutscenes, and a plethora of twists and turns. Now as I stated in the beginning, Klonoa 2 really didn't change all that much in the formula, and that is no more present than the gameplay. There's really no point to talk about this since it is almost exactly the same as Door to Phantomile, but it just so happens that one rather large addition was made. This addition came in the form of board riding stages. Yes, no longer was Klonoa just a 2.5D side-scroller, well sort of at least. You have to think of these stages like rail shooters. Your point of view is in 3 dimensions, you can move left and right and even backwards and forwards, however you are confined to a set path and must simply avoid the obstacles present on it. With that being said though, these stages are really fun, which trust me is a good thing since they pop up pretty frequently throughout the game. Although I would not consider it an addition to the gameplay, another thing that was changed was the emphasis on using your enemies. In Lunatea's Veil, there is an absolute armada of baddies, each having their own unique abilities. In order to make your way through the game's stages, you have to learn how to enable these enemies' abilities for your benefit. Other than those minor alterations, the gameplay formula hasn't been changed too much, which trust me is a good thing. You'll want to fix what isn't broken, and the intricate 2.5D levels of Klonoa are far from broken. In fact, they're about as far from broken as possible. The visions in this game are gigantic, some stretching over 30 minutes, all chock full of great puzzle solving, frantic platforming, and overall outstanding level design. As for graphics, it would be expected that Lunatea's Veil have better visuals since it was released on a brand new console at the time, the PlayStation 2, and it does in fact live up to that assumption. Lunatea's Veil actually incorporates some absolutely gorgeous cel-shaded graphics. These graphics are very bright and colorful and really draw you into the world. To top it off, the game is filled to the brim with beautiful particle effects, really complementing the dreamy atmosphere of the game. Unfortunately, Lunatea's Veil suffers the same fate its predecessor's remake would face 8 years in the future. Now of course, talking about the cutscenes. Gone are the drop-dead gorgeous ones from Door to Phantomile. Instead, we are treated to in-game graphics, which definitely don't look bad, but still leave something to be desired. I'm sorry, but nothing's gonna beat those CG cutscenes from the original. Oh man, are they breathtaking. Now when it comes to music, I'm gonna have to say Klonoa 2 falls just a bit short. The soundtrack is definitely above average, don't get me wrong. I just found it a bit hard to find any tracks memorable. Basically what I'm saying is it's not Door to Phantomile, but hey, not all video games can be as epic as that one. Still, this soundtrack fits the bill just fine, with all the songs really gelling well with their levels. And hey, if you end up liking it more than I do, you can even pick up the 2-CD soundtrack that was released exclusively in Japan, just like its predecessor. Now as I said before, Lunatea's Veil is rather short to play through, however it's not nearly as bad as Door to Phantomile. It's about twice as long, clocking in anywhere between 6 to 7 hours. The difficulty, however, is still easy, if not easier. The only thing that may make the game more challenging are the incredibly long stages, but with a little diligence, these can be passed with relative ease. Overall, Klonoa 2 is a very worthwhile sequel. I'm not going to overpraise it though and say it's a masterpiece, because it definitely isn't. However, it did add some great new gameplay aspects, some awesomely huge levels, and a new enthralling story. With these achievements, it's easy to look past its shortcomings. With that being said though, I still feel Door to Phantomile is the jewel in the crown. I still recommend you pick this one up though, as it's another excellent platformer, and probably one of the best on the PS2. Plus, it can be found for a fraction of what the original goes for. And with that being said, that ends my thoughts on the original two Klonoa console titles. I'll see you guys on the next edition of Classic Video Game Channel.